Hello there. Thank you for watching News Echoes on World Affairs. And today we want to center on Nigeria, around Nigeria. Many of you know that the tribunal judgment has been given, and that was 2 days ago, and so many reactions all over the world. I will be giving my colleagues a chance to, first of all, give their own opinion before we go into the analysis of the judgment. My name is Shegun Johnson, and in faraway Toronto, Canada, we have Sir George. Sir George, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson, and good morning, our beautiful and wonderful viewers from around the world.
In the commercial city of Lagos, of Nigeria, in Lagos, we have a Bidi Nana. Bidi, you're welcome to the program. Well, we will be getting Bidi back to the studio. In Milan, we have Mark Godwin. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sir George. Good morning, Dr. Shegun. It's good to see you
guys again. Thank you very much, Mark, for your coordination of the Schengen Story Media, and of course, an extension to the News Echoes. And on Wednesday, you did a wonderful job from the beginning to the end. You showed the Pepsi they are called. Somebody say, why were they not called 7-Up? In any case, they call them Pepsi. I'm talking of presidential election tribunal judgment. You were there for almost 10 hours, and you were ably supported by Sir George all the way in Toronto, coordinating and giving the message to over 20,000 viewers. At the beginning, we started with 14,000 viewers, and we want to say, please, we want your comments today as you are watching. We will be reading out your comments as soon as we get them, or at least we will show them on the screen. So we invite you to make your own comments so that other Nigerians in diaspora could read it. Let me start with Sir George. Sir George, you stayed with Mark throughout. Let's first of all hear your immediate impression.
Well, when you expect a dog to act like a human being, that is where the misnomer comes in. And when you expect a dog, when you are looking at a dog and a dog is acting like a dog, you know, you're not too misaligned with your own expectations. So I came into the whole equation from my mindset of what I have believed in. That means that it's possible that something different might now happen. But I still had that expectation that it will go the same way that it was that I had expected, and many Nigerians actually were expecting maybe that something different might happen, but the status quo remains. So in any case, the difference between justice and judgment is what we're discussing. They rendered the judgment.
Thank you. Differentiate between judgment and justice.
That's right. So
that's the master's law question. Yes, God, yes. Sorry, continue.
So anyway, what we saw was a bunch of what I will consider to be, I don't want to use that word, but I know that, you know, they were compromised. Every single one of them, because when you were listening to them, number one is, why were they hiding their faces? For what reason? If you have nothing to hide, why would you hide your face? Why would they present to us all these dog-looking type of images rather than the real people who sat together, chopped the money, and then brought those judgment, that screw judgment to the world? Look at them there. If we look into all of these people, you will see traces of corruption. That's what it is. So
okay. That's the immediate impression. We'll come back to analyze the judgment in a moment. Mark in Milan, what are your immediate impressions before we go to the nitty-gritty?
Immediate impression is on Wednesday, the 6th of September 2023. Once again, Nigerian democracy proved to us that it's not working. The judiciary arm of government is that last resort people go to when they have issues. And on that day, I can bet you, Dr. Shegun, on the streets of Nigeria, if we take a poll, a survey, I would say 80% of the Nigerian population was let down on Wednesday, the 6th of September. These men on our screen and the lady there showed us that they are who they are. Like a pastor said, they are Nigerians. So those attributes of sometime the way we used to be, cunning, deceitful, unjust, all those attributes played out on Wednesday the 6th. With millions of Nigerians and international observers, we are really shocked at what we had on Wednesday the 6th. So all the eyes on the judiciary proved wrong. Our eyes had Apollo. Our eyes had Apollo at the end of that day.
Thank you very much. There are a few things I want us to really deal with. Sir George, quickly, the Nigerians tend to be calm. Is it because there's this one more chance of Supreme Court, or Nigerians are particularly defeated in their psyche? Let's leave them, let him spend the next 4 years. We're tired of going to and from court, because the place seems calm. Or is it calm before the storm?
You know what? I used to think it was calm before the storm. I think Nigerians are completely and absolutely defeated.
Wow.
They're demoralized. That's the key word. And it's almost like despondency out of hopelessness. That's what it is. Look at it. Nothing is going right in that country. No security, no light. They're used to the same thing again and again. And it's almost like, why am I going to go out there to die for what? They say that we suffer and smile. There is no more smile. No, there are no more smiles on anybody's faces. They're not smiling anymore. They are sad, they are disappointed, and they are just completely disillusioned because a group of people have taken over the leadership and everything that controls that country, and they hold it so tight. So the only thing, we talk about democracy. What we see in Nigeria is no longer democracy. They're fighting against coup. This is another type of political coup that you're seeing, because it's a bunch of people that come to make decisions that suits their own fancy, protecting themselves. This is what AU is doing. This is what ECOWAS is doing when you really think about it. But there is a paradigm shift taking place somewhere else. And if we are not careful, we will become victims of that paradigm shift.
Thank you, sir. Let me welcome from another continent, Dr. Godwin Ebe, all the way from Moscow, Russia. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you viewers for tuning in.
You tune in on time. We were just looking at our various impressions of the judgment, the presidential tribunal judgment. What is just your immediate, in few seconds, how did you find the judgments? Was it justice or was just judgment?
I was not shocked at the decision, to be quite frank. I wasn't shocked at the decision. I was shocked at the surprise of people who expected something different. That was the most shocking. I thought that, whether it was just or unjust, I think everybody should have expected that result somehow. Now, concerning the FCT, the reason that we're giving for the judgment, 25% for FCT, I kind of agree with that 25%. I don't think FCT should have special privileges. And I've always argued that the Constitution gave room for ambiguity in that line, and I think it's the court works on precedents. So the other two, first and the third reason given, don't yet have a position on that, but I've always argued that that 25% left a lot of ambiguity, and because of that ambiguity, the panel of jurists are more inclined to agree with the sitting president, who it's a lot of fun to unseat a sitting president and reorganize an election
Okay,
especially
quickly, just because you mentioned that one, we will have come to it, but briefly. Others have argued that if it is the 37th state, then they need their own governor and their own House of Assembly, which was not provided in the Constitution. So how do we balance the two?
Yes, then the constitution must be amended to create the clarity. Otherwise, there will still be. I actually believe that that's the right step forward. If it's considered a separate state, then it should have its own governor. For example, Moscow in Russia has its, or maybe mayor, that has some kind of governor privileges. For example, Moscow, the capital of Russia, has its own mayor, which is as powerful as the governor of other regions. It's not actually called the governor, it's called the mayor. By the way, today's elections, regional elections, in Moscow. So it has its own power, and Moscow being the most advanced city this year in BRICS, you can see how the hierarchy is organized. So I argue for clarity, and I would prefer.
So in the absence of clarity, we better go with the president. It may not be real.
President,
it may not be the real truth. So that's what you just said. Okay, but let's move on.
One thing that even these how many judges that sat together, they couldn't find the proper word to use when it comes to how to define Abuja and how to define the and. So they said, in this case, we have to jettison it. We have to drop it from the aircraft and let it just go, because we don't even want to use our own minds to try to figure out the words to use forward. So in essence, really, the point about this whole entire thing is that when you think about it, justice in Nigeria is not guaranteed in anywhere, not in finances, not in diplomacy, not in anything. So I am with Dr. Ibe when it comes to that. He was surprised that we were expecting something different.
Yeah,
because if you expect a dog to act like a human being,
let me also come
Mark, I want to tell you to the level of sleeping in that place. Is it they call Nigeria a sleeping giant? Is this what they
Dr.
mean?
Shago,
wait a minute. Because these are lawyers getting paid in millions of dollars to go and represent their clients, and majority of them were sleeping. Is this what happened when the cameras were not there? They're used to sleeping in the chambers anyway, so we don't even know after they are being paid. Imagine doctors sleeping in the theater room. Imagine teachers sleeping in their classroom. Is this what happened with our judiciary, that they are generally sleeping? Is this what we can deduce?
I think some technical issues from his end.
Can I say something while he's coming back?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Now, I want you to see something. Number one is to see these people, they sat for hours upon hours. Yes. And I didn't see any kind of break whatsoever. There is really a law that after you have sat for so long, you have to get up, stretch yourself.
That's right.
15 minutes to 30 minutes break, come back again. They sat. What do you expect from
Sir George, can you imagine that in the developed world, people sleeping, your lawyer sleeping while the judgment is being delivered? Is that something that can happen?
Well, you might not see it in the modern, some developed world, because they will make sure that some kind of way they keep themselves awake. But what do you expect from Nigeria? Like what you said, a sleeping giant. So, I mean, number one is I really don't blame the lawyers for sitting for for some of them falling asleep. Because number one, can I say something? Can I say something? Watch this though. If you go in a place with excitement and expectation, that's a different thing. But if you go there defeated before you arrive, that's another thing. So that's the reason why they were sleeping, in my own estimation.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I add something to that?
Bidi is on now. I want to bring on Bidi. Bidi, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Shegu. Thanks for having me. Everybody, good morning. Good morning.
Now you live in Nigeria, and Nigerians in diaspora, they are in tens of thousands listening to you. What's the mood in Nigeria after the judgment?
See, the mood in Nigeria did not change much because I tell you, they were not expecting anything less than this. Going by, when Nigeria had a lot of expectation was before the swearing in. Nigerian didn't know that Bola Tinubu would be sworn in. But when immediately he was swearing, a lot of Nigerians gave up hope. The people who were still depending and waiting on judiciary were more of Nigerians who live abroad because they don't understand how desperate and how mean this set of people who are holding Nigeria on hostage can go. So there is not much different. They were like, let's just wait. Even you should know that even before the day of judgment, they've already given the judgment before the day of judgment. When Justice Mary Odele, the wife of a former governor of Rivers State, Wike, came out to gaslight Nigerians, as if that was not enough. The president of Bar Association of Nigeria came out again to gaslight Nigeria again. So Nigeria already know what they wanted to do. So they are not really perturbed. Nigerians are not really moved because they already know.
Thank you for that overview. We want to go quickly into case by case on Shettima, dual nomination and pre-election. And Sir George, what do you say of that one when he was cleared of it because it's a party issue, dual nomination, which is against the constitution, against the law, but he was cleared because it's not their business. They said according to the spirit of the constitution, not according to technicality. That's what they said. How do you see that?
Well, there was something that I wrote on that day when they started making statements. I wrote technicality, technicality, technicality. So what it is this. They made up their mind. It's a predetermined judgment that they have already decided. How do we go about feeding it to the people? That's what we saw that day. Because everything is so clear in the minds of the people. Number one is they were already against the petitioners. They were rebuking them. It was almost like they ganged up against them, that any statement they make, they come against them. So you will see that when they sat down to judgment, they've already made up their mind that we're going to support this man. We don't want to let him go, for whatever reason that is best known to them, which I believe had something. And let me tell you something. When Tinubu left Nigeria prior to that judgment day, that's when I knew what he did prior to. He is already taking care of business. So he wanted to fly out. After all, the day he left was not the day he was supposed to leave, if you think about it. Okay. He left days before, he was supposed to be in India. So in essence, really, what we are looking at is it is time for Nigerians to hold people accountable to the offices that they're supposed to be holding.
Okay, let me
if we don't do that, this is how the cycle will continue. There is nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, I've been asking all of us one thing or the other. Dr. Ibe, the judgment said that the IREV was not conditional, was not by force. It was just a suggestion of INEC. And they're not held bound to it, even though we have their letter exclusively saying this is a foolproof measure. And at the end of the day, they did not follow it. And the judgment said, well, they're not held bound by it.
I've always maintained that I was not at the polling unit. I was not an observer to understand or see the results or to know how the result went at the polling unit. So I'm very, very careful when I make conclusions. But from what I see on social media, I saw lots of movement in a particular direction. And I understand that we interviewed so many people on our shows, even the commissioner and a commissioner. And he promised us that there was going to be this bimodal beavers and everything was going to, its requirement, and only to see that it was not used was really a disappointment. I honestly thought that, well, if it wasn't used, the election should have maybe been rescheduled or redone. But when I considered the cost, the billions that were involved in it, and I understood the state of the economy and the credit situation of the country and the very high probability of that not happening, I already could draw some reasonable conclusions that the technicalities will favor or will move in that particular direction. So I'm not surprised at that. Now, in terms of democracy, as you've mentioned, Sir George, that in everywhere there's no place where there are not people who control a particular democracy in a way, in one way or the other. Even judges have their own personal political view. They try to be neutral, they try to say, but they all newspaper editors have their own personal political views, but they try to put it aside. You're not totally unconnected to the environment or your belief system or your school of thought. So the way to balance a particular movement in a country is by the guarantors of democracy are the military. If the military are on the side of the sitting governor, forget it. There's no internal force that can unseat that president. External force, if you have no geopolitical backing, Russia is not on your side, China is not on your side, US is not on your side, then forget it. Externally, you have no basis. The power of the people is sweet words, but it's based on those internal force or external force.
Thank you, sir. Bidi, on certificate forgery and drug forfeiture of money, they nullify them, that you don't bring that in, when actually the constitution is very clear that if you have ever forged certificate, or you have reason to believe you have forged your certificate, or you have forfeited money for drug issues, you should not contest election. They said that is pre-election, is not their business.
Then Dr. Shegu, he said what happened on Wednesday has actually showed a lot of Nigerians that the Nigerian constitution has already been rewritten, but we don't know, because most of the thing, like we thought about this forgery, that it should be before the election, even the double nomination. See, there's no grammar we can speak here that will change it. It is obvious, like Sir George said, this was premeditated. They already done everything, so they will always have words to justify their action. That is why they are telling you this.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Sorry to cut in. So if I'm employed as a professor of medicine in a hospital, and they discover that it's all a lie after 3 years, does it mean, oh, that was 3 years ago, so nobody should now send me packing? Is that what they're saying?
But obvious, that was what they have established in Nigeria. That is what we will start having. If you check the social media, the eve of that day, or on Thursday, a lot of people brought out this Mesoma girl picture and was like apologizing to her. People who actually bashed her, called her names. They were like, "Oh, we are sorry. We didn't know that forgery and lies is part of Nigerian constitution." That they are now sorry for calling her out, for bashing her. Do you understand? So, like Sir George said, it's so unfortunately that they say that the judiciary is the hope of common man. But it's obviously that Nigerian judiciary now has a price. If you can afford their price, then you don't have a
No,
problem.
no, maybe
Maybe
we should say it like judiciary was the hope of common man, no longer in the present. But let me just give you an irony here. I was reading news about Osun State, and the Osun State governor, you remember the dancing governor, just sacked the rector of Osun State Polytechnic based on forged certificate. And that's the state that
he has no right to sack that man. He has no right. By the
and that's the
standard
state
of
where
our Nigerian
Tinubu comes from. That's
of
Tinubu
course.
state.
And except that man doesn't know his rights, they should go to the streets and protest. They have to respect that man. He has no rights. Because what the Nigerian judiciary has done now, they have just legalized forgery, lies, and double nomination.
I shouldn't have studied that middle of the night. Sir George, the next question comes to you, Sir George. The EU report was thrown out. They never saw it as important. The EU said everything was rigged. Is not, at least in the days of Yar'Adua claimed to say that my ascendancy was faulty. But here, it's like everything is prim and proper, including the EU report. These people had, they were honest to a great extent.
This is the impetus that I'm talking about. The impetus of this, how many judges to come out and have the effrontery to, mouth off garbage out of their mouths. I have no regards for this type of people, honestly speaking. My own estimation, when we're looking at it, people that supported Tinubu, they are happy. They felt that justice was done. People that are supporting PDP or Labour Party, they their expectations were just dashed against the wall. But the fact is that these people, they have no moral position whatsoever. Because, when you're looking at this, it stinks. Even looking at it, you can smell the dirtiness of this whole entire thing. The statements that are coming out of their mouth, can you just imagine? Okay, EU report is, because they don't know what to do. So to them, it's almost like, let's throw this away. Okay, what do we do about this in order to maintain our position? And then they say, okay, well, let's jettison the whole entire thing. Let's throw it out of the aircraft. Listen. This is the reason why you see the calmness in Nigeria. They're tired of being tired.
Let me add my 2 cents to that. You remember the EU report? The EU report, Britain is not part of that EU report, and you have to understand that very clearly. Britain, with all these,
Britain is not part of the EU anyway.
Yes, of course, but they still do a lot of trade. They recently left, and sometimes they have a common position on a lot of things, but not this one. The Britain said that the Nigerian government, should be proud of the presidential election, despite saying, and they said they noted the position of the opposition, but they encouraged the government to look into it. Encourage. Imagine if that was not.
I get your sarcasm very well.
Yes, so I hope you have to get it.
Obi and Atiku, they are going to the Supreme Court. Will you advise them, Dr. Ibe?
No, I wouldn't advise them, honestly. But if they want to, I wouldn't advise them, honestly, because the stakes are clear. The stakes are very clear. What?
I said, if Tinubu was allowed to be sworn in, it's over. It's over.
Massive Mark, will you be monitoring the Supreme Court judgment in 60 days' time?
We will,
they have 60 days.
We are not relenting, Dr. Shegun. Yes, it looks so discouraging. Yes, with a lot of, what happened on 6th of September is a sham, is a shame. Some people don't even see it like so, Dr. Shegun. But we are not giving up. We're monitoring everything. We're looking at all the corners. We're looking at all evidences. Dr. Shegun, there's another thing you didn't put in the question. With all those loads of evidence brought to court, these judges said they didn't bring enough evidence. Can you beat that, Dr. Shegun?
Bidi, we give you the last say in this segment. Just in 30 seconds.
Did you notice that some lawyers, some judges tried to ask questions when the judgment was being meted out, but they stopped them. Did you notice it? About two
No.
lawyers, question. Yeah, I followed it. They questioned the pattern of the judgment, but they wouldn't allow them air their view. See, it's a shame to Nigeria.
Well, we have to go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at the ministerial disposition and presentation by the Tinubu presidency. We'll be looking at good things happening in Nigeria, Osimhen and Oshoala being honored in other places. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Be this world, changing your mindset.
My Isaac. I am visually impaired.
I'm a cripple. I'm crippled in both legs.
I'm a builder. If you people can able to get me a laptop or smart.
Be this world, changing your mindset.
My Isaac. I am visually impaired.
I'm a cripple. I'm crippled in both legs.
I'm a builder. If you people can able to get me a laptop or smart big phone to be cover project.
Baba Aduko from Nigerian of the Blind in Lagos State. All I just need now is a smartphone. I don't mind any type. Just for me to be selling my products and facilitate my job. With a smartphone with me, I can do my free traveling on the line and I don't need to beg anybody for money again.
Business Summit and Fair 4th edition is set to digitalize fiscally challenged business owners by gifting them smartphones, laptops to enable them do their business properly and effortlessly. Business Summit and Fair is an annual advocacy business program advocating for friendly business environment for SMEs in Nigeria and fiscally challenged business owners. Since the inception of this program, we've revived so many SMEs and taken up the streets so many beggars, inculcating in them the spirit of owning and doing their own businesses. Since after the COVID, many of them have been left behind for lack of having smartphones and laptops. Then they used to have their businesses along the road or in a marketplace. Now there's a need for them to be carried along into the e-markets, and we need to do that by gifting them smartphones and laptops. Join us this year, 21st September 2023 at Radisson Hotel Ikeja GRA as we have our annual events, digitalizing fiscally challenged business owner. It's the topic for this year. Be part of Business Summit and Fair, where you will learn, discuss, and exhibit your products and services. Join us this year, 21st September 2023, at Radisson Hotel Ikeja GRA for Business Summit and Fair 4th edition. My name is Bedi Nana. I'm the convener of Business Summit and Fair.
It's a laudable one. This is a way of contributing to the society, and this is a kind of a project that's supposed to be done by every individual.
It's a very fantastic one because many.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle, inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment, a better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
Thanks for watching. We'll continue with this special program of today. 5 ministers were only given to the southeastern region of Nigeria. And the Igbo head group, Ohanaeze, has said this is unfair and unjust. Let me start with Sir George. Every state is entitled to a minister, a ministerial position, and that's exactly what Tinubu has done. In other cases, he has given them more than 5 ministerial positions, totaling instead of 37 ministers, we now have something like 48. So he has not favored the southeastern states anyway. How do you copy that, sir?
Well, it's not surprising to me that he's doing such. I mean, look at the way he came into office and look at the way he's being sustained by the judicial, by the 5 judges. So what do you expect from him to do? And besides, anyway, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So regardless, who is going to judge him by such actions? Is it the governors? Are they going to make noise? Even the Ohanaeze themselves. So what we're seeing is just basically, a perfect example is this overgrown baby from the River State, flashing guns all over the place and went to Abuja, in the absence of our president to secure the place. But one individual during the election just rose up and said, our offices, our businesses are being burnt down. You people are not helping us out. If you guys are not going to protect our businesses, maybe we can call IPOB to come and protect us. Today, they arrested him the next day, and then I don't know what has happened to him. So look at the injustice that is happening in Nigeria. So, if you look at the way Igbos are looking at this whole entire thing, they're disenfranchised. They don't really matter. You just give them crumbs, and they ought to be satisfied with it. And that's the way I see it, whether we like it or not. But the point is, there is no one that matters that can actually speak and be recognized. Ohanaeze, I don't know. They're saying what they're saying, but what is that going to do? Is that going to move Tinubu 1 inch to sign something different? I don't see that happening.
Mazimak. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just looking at the time. Mazimak. It appears Tinubu's presidential victory has been tainted with tribalism. Buhari was tainted with nepotism. Now, as soon as Tinubu lost in Lagos at the February 25th election, everything went tribalistic. It's Yoruba Lokan. And it appears Tinubu has done that in ministerial presentation. What do you say?
That's it, Dr. Shagun. He's just following the footstep of his boss, the earlier President Buhari, and the Southeast is taking that whip. It's like flogging a group of people, a nation. So we saw the ministerial list, and we've seen what is going on. Sir George said it better. It's sad. Let's take note that also having the LP presidential candidate, Peter Obi, from the Southeast adds to that animosity, that tribalism. So they think it is Peter Obi's Southeast people that is against the APC and the Yoruba people. So it's a hot one, and I see it playing out more, even though in Imo State, the stooge in Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, seems to be one of them. But what he doesn't know is he's just a figurehead, He doesn't really bring the substance in. So last time he brought Remi Tinubu, the president's wife, to Imo State. But what we had is it was all an arranged thing to make it look like the presidency is in support of what is happening in the Southeast. And because he's also trying to veer in for a second term. So, Dr. Shagun, a lot of sad things are happening there. And sometimes we don't know how to put it.
I just want to hear the view of Dr. Ebe. Will you agree with that Tinubu is being tribalistic?
I would say that he should consider increasing or taking into account this inclusion, representing the geopolitical state of the nation for peace, progress. I'm not really so much concerned about what Ohanaeze said, because in February this year, they said they endorsed Peter Obi, and in August, they said do not form an alliance against Tinubu. So it's difficult to understand if they have a single voice or if they are just a political party. But I'm for inclusiveness. I would like to see more inclusiveness of everyone in the ministerial structure and in all arms of the government. I think it will lead to much more progress. And also we have to, at a point in time, all move beyond election cycle and move into seeing how we can actually really contribute and working with what we have to get the best out of it. If we have this Bola Tinubu as our president and other people, then we have to kind of work together with them to make sure we get the best for us, because there's no other way. We don't have the relevant internal force. So, I mean, the opposition doesn't have the relevant internal or external force to effect any change at this point.
Yeah, it's always difficult to move on in the face of injustice and inequality. And the French will say égalitaire inequalité. So when you are faced with inequality in distributing the Commonwealth resources, is always a challenge. But, well, like you said, this program we will move on, and we are told that the university students in Nigeria, they are up in arms against the government, that the school fees have been shifted from 25,000 naira to 200,000 naira. And the students, most of the students come from poor background. There's no way their parents will be able to give 200,000 naira as tuition. They have to pay for books, they have to pay for laboratory equipment, they have to pay for laptops, they have to pay for telephones. All of these are involved in their studies, and they're not to talk of boarding and the rest. Let me start from you, Massive Mark, since you are here.
Oh, Dr. Shagun, we saw the protest. Protest has actually been going on from different universities. Unilag had theirs on Wednesday. UNN is having his now. That's the University of Nsukka. Also, some universities in the south are about to go on the street. So I think if BD were here, she would have given us a current real-time information. But what we know is, like you said, from 25,000 naira to now 200. I mean, that's more than 100% increase. So even the 25,000 naira tuition fee was a hard one. I remember when the protest was on that too. Now they are pushing the students to the limit, and like we've seen some videos, young girls crying. Some of these young girls say they in fact they can't hide it any longer. They tell you they do some very unheard of things they can't say in the full glare, all to get this tuition fee, and that is the 25,000 naira. So what do you want them now to do to get 200 and something thousand naira? So
okay, let's ask Bidi. Bidi is here now. Bidi, how hard is it difficult? How difficult is it for parents to pay 200,000 for their wards in the Nigerian university? How difficult is it?
So, Dr. Shegu, it's not difficult. It's simple. The children will stop school. There's nothing difficult about it. Because somebody that is paying to 25,000 naira as a fee and now you're telling the person to come and pay 250,000. It's a simple thing. You just don't want the people to go to school. And now, in this society, we have been complaining the devices of the youth, the young ones, prostitution, criminal. Do you understand? And now you're taking people who are already in school out of school. What you're making them is that you don't want them to go to school. It is obvious. And now look at the scenario about this. These children, they took to the streets to protest the hike in their tuition fee. And what did the state government do? They sent policemen to stop them. They don't want them to complain. They don't want them to stop. Is that the kind of government we want to run in Africa, in Nigeria? It's obvious they don't want people to go to school again. Now, remember, the President Ballon Tinubu student loan. You remember what is going on with that student loan? That student loan is unaccessible. Nobody can access that student loan. And now you have increased. And you know what they are doing now? You know, Lagos State is always a testing ground. Once they pass this in Lagos State, they will extend it to other states. It's simple. Our government do not want us to go to school.
And the 250,000 naira is just tuition. There is still, you have to get lodging and boarding and uniform, clothes.
Departmental fuel, so many things you need to pay. Do you understand? Sorry, can I say something about your last topic? Because my network was having problem. Can I say something?
Okay, quickly.
We talked about the Southeast and 5 ministerial
positions.
Southeast. Yes. See, you know, when we come out to speak English, I wonder the kind of grammar we want to speak. It is obvious. Southeast is hated in Nigeria. Buhari did not hide it. He made it open. I don't like you people, and you people will not benefit from my government. And you remember, Tinubu said he's coming to continue on what Buhari started. And what did Buhari started? Buhari starts hating the Southeast, and he will finalize it. Me, personally, I'm even surprised he even gave them up to 5 slots, because I was not even expecting him to give them
constitutional.
That's constitutional. Yes, exactly. That's constitutional. Now, remember, Southwest, he gave them 9 slots. The other one, he gave them 8. And he gave Southeast just 5. Just let it be that he has given them something. If you ask me if I'm Ohanaeze, don't even talk. Let them do their own thing. Because even if you speak from now to tomorrow, it will not change anyhow President Tinubu wants to treat the people of Southeast.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Ibe, do you think they are trying hard to stop education in Nigeria with this 25,000 to 250? Now, as someone who lives in Moscow, you and I know that education is very expensive here. I'm talking in England. A tuition in England per year is £9,000. 250,000 is like 250 pounds. 250,000 naira is like 250 pounds. And we know that we cannot run education with 250 pounds here. In England, it's 9,000 pounds. But well, of course, there are different countries, different costs and things. But how do you copy from Moscow?
If I compare it, some people will say, why are you comparing? Are we the same? We are this and that. But I think I just want to say a few things. Not that I'm trying to look down on us. I just want us to be able to look up to some good things and maybe copy 1 or 2 things. In Russia, citizens of Russia, you don't even need to be a citizen. You just need to be a resident. Just be a permanent resident. Education is free. Secondary school education. Health is free. There are people who university, not for everybody. For the intelligent ones, it's free. But there are exams. Yes, there are some exams you have to take. Yes, there's some exams you have to take, and then if you get a high mark, you get into what you call the scholarship path, and then you have the paid path. So it's also like that. They are in the middle of a military operation, but yet none of these things has been cut short. But we are not yet even in a war with the Mali that or the Niger want to fight with, and we cannot even guarantee yet education, the bedrock, of success for and employability for Nigerians. It's such a shame. It's so totally disappointing to learn about.
But will you agree? Let me ask Sir George this question. Will you agree 25,000 naira is too small? That's like 25 pounds.
Relatively, it is too small. But what is it that these children are gaining from these oil wells that we have? Come on. Is that too much? No, think about it. Half of the money, what? Let me just say 80% of the oil that we sell in the international world, 80% is going into private pockets. So what are these people gaining? These little kids, innocent kids that are in school. Okay, you stop oil subsidy. Can't you just take at least 40% of that oil subsidy and subsidize the education? What in the world are we doing? Are we monkeys? Can we think? This is really absurd.
I think you have smashed it, Sir George. While I agree that 25,000 naira is small, you have nailed it. After all, what are they gaining from this oil well? I think you have nailed it. Yeah.
Nice question. I would think about this question all day. I would think about this question all day.
I think you have nailed it.
Yes, Dr. Shago, I want to say that Sir George just pushed. He just threw it out. This is the biggest statement that could be made.
Are we monkeys? I think it's
also added to that, Sir George. Take note that no social amenity, no social provision, nothing comes to the citizens of Nigeria from the oil. That shared prosperity God has given to us all. And now, like you said, George, they are taking off. They are making
It's not even charity. You are investing in human capital. You will still employ these people later. You will still employ them. You need them.
To the GDP. BD, yes.
That's a good one.
Go on, BD.
Sir George, God bless you. You said it all. Nigerians are not benefiting anything from their government. If you're in Nigeria, you provide your lights, you provide your health care, you provide your food, you provide your road, you provide everything. And on top of providing all these things, you pay tax on top of those things. I'm telling you, they've removed the subsidy and they're increasing everything. You can't even, 100,000 naira in Nigeria is worth nothing. You cannot buy anything reasonable with 100,000 naira in Nigeria. There is nothing Nigerian citizens are benefiting from their government. Nothing. So nobody should even come here and compare international education, what they are paying, with what Nigerians are paying. Because in international, there are some certain things their government provide for them. Do you understand? They now make it up with.
You are right. The 9,000 pounds here, you can get a loan. You can get a soft loan for it. You are right. Okay, we just have to move on because I'm mindful of the time. Massive Mark, you have this news that Osimhen and Oshoala, they have been given Ballon d'Or award. Please tell us more.
Yes, why we're trying to say this is to also lighten up Nigerians. We know how sad and how everybody feels after that court outing, but some of this news also puts some preps and some hope in us. So our boy, Nigerian forward Victor Osimhen, that plays here in Italy, the Napoli striker, that did very impeccable moves last season, is on the Ballon nomination. It's a nomination for now, a nomination, but there's a strong plan to get him to win it. So this Ballon is one of the I think is the most prestigious football award being given to an individual, to a very good football player. It's been on for years now. We've had Kanu Nwankwo win it at a point. Now it's our boy that is on the list, and Asisat Oshoala. Yes, the lady that plays in Barcelona. So these two people are on the nomination for this year. The award will be coming any moment from now. And now where we're taking this to again, Dr. Shego, is to make Nigerians know that regardless of what we go through, we are resilient. We are still out there doing great things, go-getters, and we are going to also overcome this these
okay, let's have from our colleagues. Sir George, does this put some smile to your face? We are getting some, at least our names are still being mentioned in good places.
Well, outside of Nigeria, our names have been mentioned, but it depends on who is mentioning it and in what capacity are they mentioning it. Because to be honest with you, what I know is that country is completely and absolutely blessed by God with talent, skills, bright, intelligent people. As a matter of fact, not to just, brag about it, I think we are the most intelligent group of people in the world. That if we can harness our differences and harness our, the diversity of that beautiful place, it will explode. And we will be people that are being clamored after. But what? We're sleeping. We're sleeping. We're sleeping. Yeah. Congratulations to him. Hope he wins. But what does that do for the youths in Nigeria? What does that do to these students that are not able to go to school? What does that do to the food on the table? What does that do? You see, yes, it's not putting any smile on my face at all.
Dr. Ibe, does it put smile to your face? Osimhen and Oshoala being world-nominated
I congratulate both of them so much. I'll be lying if I said they had any chances of winning. Obviously, we know who's going to win it. But of course, I'll root for them if I had to root. We have a person who has won 7. Lionel Messi has won 7, and he's about to win his 8th. Is he? Does he not have the same one brain? Why? Where is our ministry? One person may win. One person. The minute I've always said it doesn't give me a lot of joy because I understand the situation of sports in the country. Ministry of Sports, we need to do more to, first of all, pay for scouts to look for talent, create the academy, sponsor the event so that people can compete, we can find the best, and we can put them. We need more where these people are coming from. We don't want them representing other countries.
Dr. Ibe, thank you very much.
For taking pictures after they won.
We're giving you the last shot for this program. Tell us more. How are you winning in Nigeria? I want to put a smile on Sir George and Dr. Ibe's face. How are you winning concerning your business ceremony coming up only 2 weeks from now? Are you winning?
Dr. Shago, I am winning the much I can, but I need assistance. I need help. I need people to come and work with me and make this thing a success. I need people to donate phone to me. It's not about me. I can take care of myself by God, but I'm begging for these physically challenged business owners. They need phone. And I will feel too bad if at the end of this event, I'm unable to give at least 10 of them smartphones. It will make me feel
all right. And if they want, they should go to BD's World.
Please donate to this
website. They will find the
BD'sWorld.tv/donation and make the donation. Or even you can even send me your used smartphones. For them, it's not for me. I'm actually begging for people. Please, I'm not ashamed to beg. Please, these people need smartphone, and it will make me happy. It will make me fulfilled if I'm able to give them these phones. Please, I'm begging our viewers. Please support me. Let this my event.
All right, we speak to the people. Let's speak to the businessmen in Alaba too. Businessmen in Alaba, you are international people. We love you, and please contribute to BD's World as well as she's running that program for us. That is a massive thank you to Massive Mark.
Yes, and let's also say that tomorrow the G20 meeting begins starting from tonight. And we're looking on that activity, that event there. It's a big one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you from Milan, all the time coordinating and doing wonderful work. Thank you to my friends in Moscow and Toronto, Lagos, and Milan, and we shall be back on Wednesday. God bless you all.